Okay, so I'm now going to talk to you, having covered divergent design or divergent thinking, I'm now going to talk to you about a design strategy that people use, and it's called the double diamond. And it's called a double diamond because it looks like a double diamond. And this strategy involves two parts of a design process. Part one is where we set the brief. And part two is where we come up with the solution. So there's two moments in the design process. So the brief is actually a complex and difficult thing. It might seem like it's easy, but actually the brief is where most people get stuck. Defining the brief is really, really hard. And it's hard because it is not necessarily very easy to specify exactly what it is you're after. But the idea of the double diamond is we basically take these two parts of the process and we first think divergently. So we think about as many different questions as we can. And then what we do is, having thought as divergently as possible, we then converge on what it is we want. So if I was designing a school, in the brief, I might start by saying, well, how many classrooms do I want? How many students am I dealing with? When does the school have to be open? Could I actually think differently? Let's just throw some ideas out that no one else has thought about. But let's imagine we can run 2 school days. So students can come in at 6 and leave at 12, and then a new bunch can come in at 12 midday and be there till 6. We could halve the amount of space. We could think about the playground, and do we need playground? Do we put the playground on the roof? What kind of space are we going to use? We could think about the acoustics. How's the acoustic requirements of the space? All of these different things form part of the brief. We could talk about what is the budget. Let's try and halve the budget. Let's see if we can build a school for half the cost of normal. That's all part of the brief. And we come up with this idea of the brief. This is the question that we are trying to find the solution for. And then what we do is we then go into, okay, now how do we come up with a solution? So we've got a question, and then we start asking, well, what about if it was like this? What about if it was like this? What about if it was like this? And we diverge again. And when we do this, we come up with a whole load of different solutions. So my school could be made from steel, it could be made from timber, it could be made from concrete, it could be on one story, it could be on multiple floors, it could be floating, it could, kind of all these different possibilities, endless possibilities. And then what we do is we decide which of those solutions we think is best, and we kind of work towards a convergent situation where we come up with the idea. And this is the final design. And so what we've got here is we've got two moments where we're being divergent in our thinking, and we've got 2 moments where we're being convergent in with our thinking. And actually, I don't think I've gone divergent enough with the brief. So if the question was, designing a school, maybe that is the solution, is the school. Maybe the question is, how do we educate people? Maybe that's kind of really blowing the brief open wide. How do we educate people? Do I need a school building at all? Is it better to educate people in their own home? And that goes from being a crazy question to being a question which is very real and very felt right now. Or do I need to design an office building? Actually, what is the purpose of an office building? What is it that we get from an office building? Do I think about this differently? Do I actually need a building at all? Or maybe if the thing that's really missing for now that people are working from home so much, maybe if the thing that's really missing is the social space, maybe I say to people, look, we want you to work from home, but we want you to come into work to not to work on stuff, but to socialize, to share ideas. We're going to create these spaces where there's creative opportunity to think differently. Kind of that's where the value of being together in a building is. So let's throw away all the tables and chairs and computers. We're just going to build a massive playground, or we're going to build a bar or a coffee shop, and we're just going to let you kind of come and mix together. So we can blow the idea wide, and then we can converge back in on, okay, but actually what we really do need is a building which has got this number of stories. Or, maybe our question is around mode of transport. One example that I've heard about is around grass. And a company who provided lawnmowers saying, what is it we're really trying to achieve? What is the brief? And actually, the brief is not a lawnmower. The brief is grass and never grows above a certain height. So it only ever grows to about 30 mil tall. And at that point it stops. And so maybe the divergent of thing is maybe if the brief is actually not to create a lawnmower, the brief is to stop grass from growing above 30 millimeters high, then the solution goes from being, well, it's got to have, a blade, and that blade could be spinning or it could be rotating, to maybe this is about the genetics of the grass. Maybe we genetically engineer grass to never grow above 30. Does that make sense? So this is the divergent and then the convergent part of the solution. And the divergent bit is really important because that is where we imagine different solutions. And what you'll find is that not just engineers who are starting their time at university, not just engineers who are finishing their time at university, but a lot of engineers find it really hard to think beyond, well, I've seen this problem before, I know what the answer is, so actually I'm just going to focus on the solution because I already know what that is, and I'm not going to explore the brief, and I'm not going to think divergently. I'm going to kind of land on the solution before I've even started. And so I would challenge you to try and break that habit. And it's really hard because actually a lot of our education up to this point has been about finding the right solution. And suddenly we're saying we need to spend a lot more time thinking about what is the right question. And it is tough, but hopefully it's also going to be a whole load of fun.